Back in 2014, I was invited to Porto Alegre, Brazil, and to give a talk. And I called it The Wisdom of Sociology because I'm a knucklehead, and I couldn't come up with any other title. There was this woman who was speaking. She was an invited speaker. And Marilucy. And I didn't know who she was. You know, she was with all the speakers, and I was watching her, and, you know, we had dinner the night before, and then the next day, and I'm like, who is this person, right? And just the way she was kind of shy, and, you know, the way she carried herself. And I later found out that they really couldn't, like, get her to put her talk together, right? So she was doing this, you know, like, 15 to 20 minute talk. And they really had a hard time kind of getting her to kind of put it together in a way that kind of made sense. And finally they said, listen, just, Marilucy, just go up on stage and tell your story, right? So she told, now it's a story that I've heard many times in my life, right? Because, you know, spending as much time as I have in Latin America and other places, but she told this story that was, and I don't want to, because, you know, we're recording, I don't want to be gratuitous at all. I want to be really careful in the way I say this, but the story of what she went through in her life, one thing after, from when she was just born, one thing after another, was unlike anything even I had ever heard in my life. That a single human being could experience all of those things, all of that, and yet smile, and yet be able to stand up on stage and talk about it. And she, for most of her talk, she cried. And everyone in the room, which is about this size or so, cried. We got about 2 minutes in, and it was just part of the humanity. Somos humanidade. We are humanity. What she brought to this room and to the world was a story of resilience and hope and awesomeness. Because what she does is she's one of these people who just out of the ash, out of something, that she said, I am going to reach down into my soul, and I am going to bring something to children in the world, so the children in my orbit never have to experience the kinds of things that I experienced. And again, you wouldn't believe it. If I walked down the list, you wouldn't believe it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But just imagine, right? So that's what she did. So she lives in this place called Complexo do Alemão. It's the German complex. It's Vavela in Rio. And it's one of these favelas that I don't want to call it, the word in English is slum. But I don't like using slum, because slum is just like, it has a certain connotation and it doesn't make sense. But it's a huge barrio. It's a huge neighborhood. It is extremely violent, extremely poor. I mean, and every day is a struggle to get by. And yet there's a quality to it that's really cultural, right? And really intense. And so she lives there. And the police, it's really violent. The police just roll through. This is a place where police can go through and they'll just kill people and leave the bodies in the street because they're after the drug dealers and the thieves and so on and so forth. Bodies will just be in the street. I mean, it's just like, this is what it is. And kids grow up with this. Like, look at the kids there, right? So Marilucy is saying, we cannot have this. Like, we cannot have this. This is a sin. The priest would say this is a sin. Marilucy this is a crime. And you can't have little kids Imagine this is how you grow up. This is your life. Gunshots and like all the time and dead bodies and one thing after another. It's like, oh my God, man. She starts this thing for children. She calls it Vavela art. And she developed this style, along with the kids, they developed this style of painting. And they paint in the streets and they paint on canvas and they sell the canvas. And they sell it so that the kids, just have a safe place to go. We talk about a safe place to go. Like after school, we're talking about literally a safe place to go. To get away from the violence and the gunshots and the killings and so on, right? And so these are shots that she takes, because every year, she's sending me photos all the time, right? Here's a couple of the kids. Go ahead, next one. And here's somebody who's painting on the wall. And these are kids, as young as like 2 and 3, and up to teenagers that she's working with. So 2 years ago in class, we raised money for all of the school supplies for the kids, right? So they come after school. The schools don't have supplies. Like they don't go to school and have school supplies. There are no books. There are no pens, pencils, there's nothing, right? So, she's able to do things for them. And, coloring books and notebooks and, next one. And they painted this obrigados a todos, and that's all the students, and then me, right? Which is pretty awesome, right? And next one. Here's a couple kids with books. Again, this is the school, the area. So, building bookshelves and different things.